The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's Platinum webinar with your host, Todd Walters.
Thank you, Andrea. Hope everybody's doing well. Looking forward to sharing some great stuff with you today on the DISC personal concept and how to better use that in your real estate business to get more business. And so we're going to zero in on that today. But before we do, just let everybody get settled. I'd grab a notepad, grab a pen, make some notes here. You're going to want to write feverishly. I've thrown up on the screen here the agenda for the upcoming Super Bowl of Platinum Money Making Summits. Okay, and that's April 9th, 10th, and 11th. Many of you that are on the webinar today, you have already registered, and but some of you haven't yet, and I don't know why. So here's what I need you to do. If you are not coming, okay, if you are not coming or don't think you can make it, I need to know that. I need to know that, and you need to let me know. It's very important because I have something for you. Okay, so here's what you do. Zip me an email. Email me at platinum@toddwalters.com. That's platinum@toddwalters.com. I was trying to find something to write with here. Hang on, let me throw that up on the screen for you. File, new here. Let me throw, there we go. There we go. All right. So if you are watching this webinar right now, okay, and cannot come or don't think you can make it to the Super Bowl of Platinum Money Making Summits, building a championship team, April 9th through 11th. In Anaheim. Okay? Email me. Email platinum@toddwalters.com. Okay? Zip me an email. Subject line, don't think I can make it. All right? It's important. Okay, and I need that like right away. If you're watching this webinar now before April 9th, as a recording, okay? I need to know that, so that's really important. Okay, so I'll leave that up there, and you blow that up so you can see it. Everybody with me? Here we go. Okay, so I'll leave that up for about 30 seconds. Write down that email address, platinum@toddwalters.com. Zip me a note back with that subject line. Very important, okay? I appreciate you doing that. Okay, so with that, I'm looking forward to seeing just about everybody. We're expecting literally over 80% of all the members to be there based on registration. That's incredible. And most of you are bringing key men with you. That's great. It's going to be some kind of 3-day business building event packed full of guest member speakers, multi-millionaire agents, and what you're going to get handed to you when you get there, their materials, members that are doing really well, making millions of dollars a year selling real estate, what's working in their business, getting their materials. I mean, think about that. Let's suppose you got there's about 9 of us there, so 9 multi-millionaire real estate agents, what's working to get a lot of business given to you on a little USB stick so you can run back home and put it in your computer and copy and implement. All right? So here's what happens if you're not there. You don't get those things, right? So if you're not coming, you're not going to get that, but I do have something else for you if you can't make it. That's nowhere near as good. So you just can't duplicate that live environment in getting you there, these things. So anyway, that's all I got to say on that right now. Ready to get to our program today. So let's, without hesitation, make that happen. I've got a PowerPoint here. And I'm going to throw that up on my screen, and let me figure out how to, there it is, slideshow. Ah, jeez, it's not what I want. Hang on one second, let me find my place and get this up on the screen for you. Just bear with me one second here. I've got a lot of materials. You guys are going to freak out here. Here we go. Great. That's what I wanted to show you. Sweet. All right. That does not look good. So hang on one second. Let me start from, there we go. I'm struggling there. You guys couldn't see that. So we'll just leave it at that. All right. So grab a notepad, grab a pen, and oh, geez, I got to show you this. This is great. Let's go to the coaching site, and let me go to the home page here. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Audience view. Yeah. Okay. All right. Check this out. Most of you know this is here. Okay. Some of you don't, but right there. See that? On the coaching site, under the Resources tab, there's the Disk Manager. Okay, somebody see that? Under the Resources tab, there's the Disk Manager. So what happens when you go to the Disk Manager? Well, pretty simple. You can send the DISC personal concept to whoever you want to. And they can just click, 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 fill it out right there, and you'll get the responses, okay, from whoever it is. So you can manage the DISC personal concept, send it to whoever you want to electronically, okay, and they can fill it out, and you can find out all you want to know about them, at least their personality type, personal concept. Okay, so I want to make sure that you are aware of that. If you're a Platinum Program member, you've got that right there. Use it, especially when hiring people. Yes, it would be great if we could give it to the seller and buyer prospects before they showed up to our meetings. That would be nice, wouldn't it? And that's really what this webinar is about today, is how we can use this whole secret to successfully selling prospects in a strategic way to get and keep more business, right? So with that, let me throw up my PowerPoint. There we go. And let's just get down to business here. I'm going to minimize my screen here so I can walk you guys through this. Okay, you ready? All right, good. Okay, so the secret of successful selling. We call it the Platinum Rule. And the Platinum Rule is to sell to prospects the way that they want to be sold to. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at a few things. I pulled some slides out from the Platinum OSA workshops. This is from the 10 tips to a very successful benefits presentation. This is actually tip number 2. That says go in slow and read your audience. Okay? We already know that personalities are different. Different people will require different approaches. Some of your prospects will need a lot of detail. Okay, high C's and high S's, and others will want you to get straight to the point. So you want to remember when you're approaching an audience, a seller prospect, a buyer prospect, these are the things you're looking for, okay? These signs and these telltale signs of what their personal concept might be, okay? All right, and we're going to cover all that. We're going to get into that over the next hour. It's going to take a solid hour to get through it all, okay? So it's important that you understand your personality type, your personal concept. And this way you'll know what your tendencies are and who you're most likely to be most of the time when approaching these situations. But remember, the secret to successfully helping your prospect make a decision that you want is to help them the way that they want to be helped, not the way that you necessarily want to help them. Okay? All right, and I'm going to get into more details about that here. All right, we still got to share all the information with them because the consumer programs we have, they're very unique. They've got to be explained. Okay? But the manner in which we deliver the information may be embellished for some and abbreviated for others. Okay? So you want to start slowly. We want to determine which of these roads, okay, will most effectively convert this particular customer. More details, less details. Okay? Straight to the bottom line, speed up, slowing down. You know, there's time during the presentation to make adjustments along the way using this DISC personal concept. Okay? But at some point, you've got to do it. Like, you can't wait till the very end. Okay, so reading a prospect incorrectly could mean that they're likely to become somebody else's client and not yours. Okay, so everything's a clue. What they do for a living, how they respond to your questions, if they ask you questions, the kind of questions they ask you. All of these things, everything's a clue. What their house looks like. Okay, were they on time or were they late? You know, to the meeting. You know, so for example, if you find yourself presenting to a high D, speed up, get straight to the point. If you're talking to an I, maintain a fast pace, but chat with them a little bit, warm things up. Talking to C's and S's, go a little slower, make getting all the details and things like that. And again, we're going to get into all of this. Okay. Now, all of you should have been tested under Dr. William Marston's 4-factor theory model of personality. Okay, and if you haven't, get to the coaching site and perform or take or send yourself the DISC test and find out what you are. High D, high I, high S, high C. Most of you watching the webinar today are high Ds or high Is. High D, the dominant conqueror, and the high I, the influential persuader. So how best can we really get in here and do a good job of presenting to someone outside of our personality group? You know, because we don't have a lot of time to make assessments. But it's very important, again, that we do. And again, it will determine whether the buyer or the seller become our client or somebody else. All right, now, let me stop there. Craig and I are not going to pretend that the DISC personal concept is imperative for you to get signed agreements, right? So follow me on this. Most of you, just because you're a good marketer and you're the only one being interviewed or the only one offering them things that benefit them, it's likely that you're going to get the agreement signed. Okay? But what this is about more than that is you making more money. And the clue, or the cue rather, to making more money is they trust you. Okay, so let's think about that. If your prospects are more likely to trust you, then you're in and out in a shorter period of time during the benefits presentations. Right? It ends 2 steps in 3-step appointments. Okay? Another thing, you're more likely to get the listings at the right price if they trust you and believe in you. Right? Versus debate and haggle and them not trusting you on the price that you recommend. All right? Here's the other one, and this is the biggie. Your fee, if you're watching this webinar, okay, you've been empowered with systems and knowledge and things that the other agents in your marketplace do not have and can't compete with on any level. In other words, you are more valuable. Okay? So because of that, you are more expensive. To invest in you is a better investment. Okay? Yes, you're expensive. A lot more expensive than the average real estate agent in your marketplace, or at least should be. And if you're not, then you're giving your services away that people obviously expect to pay more for and want to. Now remember this, a side note here, in terms of the average commission in your marketplace. That is the discounted rate. That is not the full service or inflated rate. The average commission in your marketplace that's in MLS, what most real estate agents get, is the discount. Okay? Everybody get that? The top of the pyramid, the rate above the normal commission rate in your marketplace, is the full service fee. So if you're going in with all of these great services and value with buyers and sellers, okay, and getting the same commission amount that the average real estate agent gets in your marketplace, you have discounted your value and your services to the majority. What the majority gets is the discount. Okay, everybody follow me? Great. I didn't know if you looked at it that way, but it is. All right. So that's the reason this is so important, so that you're more likely to get the business in a one-step, get a better pricing and terms, okay, and get your optimal fee because the prospect trusts you above any and all others to help them in their present situation. Great. All right. Told you were going to be writing fast. Okay. So reading a person incorrectly here could have a major impact on the outcome. All right. So I'm going to get rid of my sound effects there. I don't know if you can see those sound effects. But above all, as we're doing this whole process, we're not going to talk at them. We're going to talk with the prospects. And we're going to use our language and words so that they begin to trust us over and above any other agents. Okay? All right, so let's take a look a little bit deeper. So we talked about the platinum rule. The secret is to sell prospects the way they want to be sold to. All right? So obviously the perfect salesperson doesn't exist, and each person sells differently, and certainly more than one sales style can be effective. Bottom line is that because we have personal styles in our prospects' personalities are different probably than ours, okay, you're going to find that most salespeople tend to sell themselves. In other words, sell to themselves, okay? It's like you sit down and it's almost as if you're selling to the person on the other side of the table there like it's you. You're selling to yourself. So that's a mistake. Okay, and because of that, 3 out of 4 sales pitches are misguided. Psychologists tell us that the average salesperson, okay, using their own style, tends to make the wrong approach 3 out of 4 times. Okay, and obviously, 4 different personality groupings. The majority of them are going to be in another category other than you. Okay, so you must be an expert at diagnosing all components of a selling situation. The market, the competition, the timing, the culture, okay, and especially your buyer. Okay, so for the purpose of the PowerPoint today, buyer is either the seller of a home or the buyer wanting to buy a house. Both of those folks are buying you. So personality impacts the way that you and your prospects communicate. You're selling your service, and the buyer, i.e. home buyer or seller, buying your service. And personality impacts the way that we all communicate. Okay, good. So we can generally view any sales effort from 2 broad dimensions here. Process, that's like prospecting, preliminaries, to presentation, commitment, follow-up, and approach. How we actually implement those things. Okay, so for example, the process seldom varies. Okay, I drive up in their driveway. I get out of my car. I make sure I have the right file. Okay, I go to their front door. I knock. I introduce myself. I greet them by name. I walk into their front door. I ask a few questions. I lead them to the kitchen table. I allow the meeting to take place at the table versus the living room. Okay, I do a tour of the property before my presentation. I get back to the kitchen table. I make sure they sit across from me. Okay, so that I can make eye contact with everybody at the same time. I start with a notepad, asking them what's most important to them in getting their home sold. Okay, what do they feel like has to happen for that to be accomplished? Okay, I use that as leverage during the process. of my benefits presentation. I get into the benefits presentation. I look for signs of what's working and what's not. Speed up, slow down, give more details, less details. Okay, so all of that I'm just repeating to you, that's the process. And you can see I'm just going down and summarizing the process. That is a system, predictable way of doing things. But because now we're in a selling environment, okay, there are barriers and natural resistance to things, okay? So that means that the approach will just about always vary. We're dealing with human beings. Process seldom varies. Approach almost always will. Jeez. All right, so let's step inside the buyer's shoes, and the secret is to learn to sell to people the way they want to be sold to, which means we got to recognize our prospects' temperaments so that we can adapt our approach to suit each buyer's individual behavioral style. We want to react to the total situation, and that includes their personality. All right, so all of you should have been tested under the DISC personal concept, and you know whether you're a high D, a high I, a high S, or high C. Okay. So here are the instructions for scoring the personal concept. Okay, we're going to count all the words that are most like us and the ones that are least like us, and just categorize them under each category. Okay, and that's pretty dadgum simple. Okay, we have the private concept, that's the real you, the M column, okay, which is the projected concept, which is the mask you wear, if any, like the show that you put on, and the average of the two. And what you're going to notice is that if you're a high D under the M column, you're probably going to be a high D under the A column. Maybe a different number, but it's still going to be the highest number. M column, A column, pretty much the same, and that's what we're looking for here, okay, in understanding yourself. All right, so let's get into this a little bit more in detail, and I don't want to bore you with some of the stuff in here that's not going to be too relevant to you for the basis of today's discussion, okay? But I do want to talk a little bit about the guy that we're studying here, Dr. William Marston. Okay? If you don't know Dr. William Marston, he's worth studying. He wrote a book called The Emotions of Normal People. He was the inventor of the lie detector. He wrote the comic strip Wonder Woman. Okay? And this is his four-factor theory. He was a back in the early 1900s. And he was a pure genius at being able to figure this out. So, for example, if you're active personality, in other words, hey, the going gets tough and the tough get going, and you kind of really excel when there's tension and conflict, and you would be active in an antagonistic environment, that's going to make you a high D. Okay? You show up to the party, and now you're the life of the party. Okay? And you strive to make your opinions and beliefs prevail when you're in friendly environments, okay? You're a high I. That means you're active in a favorable environment, okay? If your intent is to be supportive and you're kind of steady and you like to get along with everybody and you want to be trusting of other people, as a matter of fact, you prefer to do business with friends, that means you're passive in a favorable environment, okay? And if your intent here is to avoid conflict, you read the warranties and you will take that extra 15 minutes while shopping to actually read the fine print before you buy something, okay? You know what? Then you're a little skeptical about things and, you're concerned or worried about what happens if things go south. Okay, I want to know what to expect there. Then, I get it. You want to avoid conflict. Okay, you'd be a high C. You're passive in an antagonistic environment. Okay, that's Dr. William Marston's four-factor theory model. So let's take a look then at high Ds. Raise your hand if you're a high D. Gotcha. All right, well, high D people are self-starters who get going when things get tough. They thrive on both challenge and competition. High Ds are usually direct, positive, and straightforward. They say what they think, sometimes bluntly. They like to be center stage and in charge. High Ds fight hard for what they think is the way to go, but they can accept momentary defeat. They're not grudge holders. They prefer variety, the unusual, the adventurous. They're apt to lose interest if they feel their job is becoming routine, so they've got to be kept constantly involved. High Ds are prone to making job changes, especially early in their careers until they find the challenge they need. They're individual, self-sufficient, demanding of themselves and others, discontented, dissatisfied with the status quo. Okay, those are high Ds. That describes many of you watching this and many of the customers and prospects you're going to go and meet with. High Ds. That's how you can identify these people, or at least in a general sense. We're going to look at more specifics here in a little bit. Okay. High Is. Intent is to persuade and sell. High I people are outgoing, persuasive, gregarious, strive hard to make their opinions, beliefs prevail. Very comfortable in one-on-one situations. Their outgoing nature typifies the image that we all have of the so-called natural salesperson. The highest basic instinct is in people. They're poised to meet strangers easily, tend to respond to them naturally, and because of their inherent trust and willing acceptance of people, they may sometimes misjudge people's intentions and abilities, which means they're optimistic managers, which means they're probably not that great at managing people. Okay? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Normally, very fashionable dressers. Joining organizations for prestige and personal recognition. Usually have a wider range of acquaintances, friends, and their innate optimism and people skills help them get along well with just about everybody. Okay, what about high S? Well, if you're a high S, your intent is to be supportive, predictable. Okay, high S people are usually amiable, easygoing, relaxed, warm-hearted, loving, neighborly, tend to be undemonstrative and controlled, conceal their feelings good and well. Definitely apt to be grudge holders. Okay, so you don't want to tell a high I you're going to be there at 3 o'clock, or you're going to call at 3 o'clock, and you don't. It's not good for the S's and the C's. Okay? Most of the time, high S people are even-tempered, low-key, unobtrusive. They're complacent, prone to leniency, emotionally mature. They strive to keep things the way they are and dislike change. Okay? High S people are usually very possessive and develop strong attachments for their things and their family and their departments, etc. So, and while they seldom argue or openly criticize, they can quietly resist and slow things down. Passive resistors, though, if they care to resist at all. Okay, now what about high C's? Right? Intent is to avoid trouble. Cautious. So high C people are perceived in an orderly way. Their methods are usually predetermined. They're precise, attentive to detail, strive for neat and orderly existence, tend to follow traditional procedures and established systems. Okay, so for example, if I'm talking to a high I can definitely say, hey, look, we've got a new and innovative system that will benefit you. Well, a new and innovative system for a high C, that's not good language. Okay, you got to be careful about words mean things. Okay, proven and established system would be better for the C or the S. Okay? Naturally cautious, conservative, tentative in decision-making, prefer to wait and see which way the wind is blowing once their minds are made up, however, very rigid. So they try to be what you want them to be, try very hard to avoid conflict, to stepping on toes, and they're usually reserved, adaptable, open-minded to a point, and diplomatic. Now what's cool about the DISC personal concept is that you're able to drill down on specifics in your personality grouping. So if you go the next phase of scoring the personal concept for yourself, you'll know where you fall into the high D category or the high I category or C or S. The organizer, dictator, entrepreneur, for example, in the dominance category, all the way to the specialist or the investigator or the advisor in the S category. So I highly recommend that you map yourself out, drill down, find out a little more deeper on who you are, how you see things, okay? And a manual here that I'm giving all of you at the end of today's webinar, you can see, drills down specifically on these, each individual personal concepts within the D, I, S, and C groupings, okay? So we're not going to go into each one of those because that's we'll say that is more or less individualized, okay? Had a little sound effect there in my PowerPoint, forgot about it. All right, so let's get a little deeper. How to identify high D buyers, okay? Or sellers. Remember, they're buying you. So high Ds come on strong, often testing you by applying pressure early in the relationship, see what the reaction will be. May run late, may appear rude when first approached, may interrupt you or take calls and read letters and do other things during the sales call. Say things like, hey, keep talking, I'm listening. Their expectations, well, they expect you to adopt a business-like attitude. They got a job to do. They prefer to focus and concentrate on that. Expect you to make efficient use of their time. They tend to be busy, operate from lists of things to do. Okay, they want you to provide them with evidence early in the process versus high Cs. They want you to provide them with evidence, but after they understand how everything works and all the details. Okay, so they want to deal with someone. These high Ds here want to deal with someone who's competent and self-confident. Okay, it's important. Expect you to present your product or services in terms of how it's going to solve their problem. Okay, remember that, how it's going to solve my problem. They aren't afraid to take risks, but they do want to know the probabilities associated with those risks. All right, let's flip over to the I's. High I's are friendly, people-oriented folks who usually would rather talk and socialize than do detail work. You got awards, certificates, trophies, and photos on the wall of themselves for the most part, and you're going to know who lives there. Their ego is going to be evident. They're going to be glad to see you, trade stories and jokes, want to talk about the game this weekend and what do you like to do, and they'll interrupt you to say, well, let me tell you what I like to do before you get finished even saying what it is you like to do, right? These are high I's, okay? Talk a lot about themselves, okay? They'll interrupt and digress occasionally, but they're generally enthusiastic and receptive to what you're doing here, especially if you're using language and words that your product is novel and innovative and the latest and the greatest, okay? All right, let's look at their expectations. High I buyers expect you to be tolerant of their casual use of time. They aren't clock watchers. They don't want you to be. Once they make a decision, though, they want to see quick results. They're impatient. They like to know who they're dealing with. Okay, here's a funny example. You pull up into the house to show a couple of buyers that you have in your car. Pull up into the driveway. You're a high D. You've got a high buyer in the car. What's the first thing they ask you? Who lives here? What do they do? Right? And you're like, who friggin' cares? What does that matter? They're not going to be living with you in the house. But that's high I's. So you want to know those things if you're a high D, for example. So you've got to be a little more tolerant about that and know ahead of time. So I would make it a point to ask if I had a high I prospect in my car looking at homes, okay, or trying to get a high I prospect to go look at houses, I would just ask the listing agent, hey, what does this seller do for a living? You know, oh yeah, they're a professor over at Kennesaw State University. And who are they? And they would tell me. And I was like, oh, okay, write that down. Okay, I remember, here's a good example. I'd go back and tell my, yeah, this is the athletic director at North Cobb High School, Dennis Attaway. Okay, and I just care less about that information. Doesn't matter. Okay, but the high I's think you do. It matters to them. Okay, so doing business this way and knowing these things and delivering to your prospect what they want and how they want things, using this DISC personal concept, man, it's a freaking game changer. You don't have to go out and show 50, 60 houses. They're going to trust you when you say, hey, you need to buy this house, or hey, I think you probably should stick with the $200,000 number on selling your house, or whatever it might be. Okay? All right, let's see what else we got. They want to know what you think about and how you feel about things. Okay, your opinion matters. They expect you to support them. They like positive feedback that helps them relate to you personally. Okay, so let's look at identifying high S's. They usually will have pictures on the office wall of possessions, their family, their spouse, children, their dog. Okay, they'll most likely have a nameplate on the door of the desk or both, you know. They appear easygoing, personable. They're very security conscious, possessive, so be careful what you touch. And they resist a sudden change. They like proven, traditional concepts. Okay? So you can make a huge mistake here if you go off track talking about your latest and greatest and newest and innovative stuff when these people like proven, effective, established methods. Okay? Right, they need to be able to trust you, and that might be the most operable word of, in dealing or working with or trying to get business from ISs. Trust. Okay? You can't judge a book by its cover here, based on how they look and what they wear. You just won't be able to make that judge of an S. Let's look at their expectations. High S's expect you to take time to develop the relationship, to be willing to build a personal as well as business relationship. Remember, they got to be able to trust you. They want to make fairly slow, deliberate progress, and they expect you to present benefits of your service in terms of why it's the best solution to their problem. Okay? Remember that. Why? All right, they want guarantees and assurances, and they're not assertive risk takers. They may make decisions cautiously, or they may act a little more impulsively if they trust you. They do want others to affirm those things. So you want to make it a point of saying, hey, you're making a good decision here. I believe you're making a really good decision here, Mr. High S. All right. Identifying C's. C's will work in neat, orderly offices. In most cases, their desk will be clean. Their house will be clean. Okay? They'll be prepared for the visit on time. They will have read any advanced material. So if you know you've got a high C prospect over the phone, going on an appointment, get them your shock and awe package, your bomb. The ultimate converter is very important. The atmosphere will be businesslike but unhurried and deliberate. They may be suspicious of you and your products. They will exhibit precise, restrained manner but will be courteous and diplomatic. Be a stickler for accuracy and thoroughness. As a matter of fact, here's what's interesting. As I'm flipping through the slides on this PowerPoint, the high C's are picking out the typos, okay, and writing them down so that they can call or email me later and let me know where the typos in the PowerPoint are. That's right. You know who you are. It's okay, all right? No, nothing wrong with that, trust me. I would prefer to have all the typos gone. Okay, it's just not what I first think about or see them, obviously, since I probably type most of this. They're not innovators. These high C's are not going to readily try out new and innovative technology, same like the S's. Okay, proven, established procedure and method. They will dress conservatively, unobtrusively, don't want to call attentions to themselves. What about their expectations? Well, they expect the sales call to move at a pace that provides them with just enough time to consider thoughtfully the key points. They will want you to present all the facts that you have at your disposal, and they're going to want to have time to think about it before making a decision. Guarantees and assurances, absolutely, but they're going to want to know how they're going to be made whole if something goes sour. So even the details of the guarantee, like your home sold guaranteed or I'll buy it. Okay, let's back up. Let's look at another one. Look, if we don't sell your home at a price agreeable to you, then we'll pay you the difference. Okay, well, how are you going to pay me the difference? If you're a high C, they want to know that. How's that work? Okay, so let's look at some questions that these folks might ask. High D's, okay, and high I's. And you can see some of the questions there. I'll let you kind of just look at a couple of those before I get to the next session. But how fast can I get it? What will it do for me? So you can see the high D's questions are more like bottom line answers. Okay? And then the high I's are a little more energy in there. What do others say about the product? Okay? Is this the best thing you got? How soon can I get it? Is it the latest and the greatest? Okay? But in summary, high D's, what are the options? What are the possibilities? What are the results? Okay? And the high I's, who? Okay, see that? All right, now let's look at high S's and C's. Okay? High S is like, why should I make a change? Like, I've been doing business with this other agent for a long time. Okay? Can I still get the old version? Look at high C's. How is it made? How long have you been making it? Okay? All right, but let's get to the summary. And here's the key words. Why? If you're an S, why? If they're an S, why? Why should I do it? Why should I change? Why is your product the best? C's, how? How can you meet my needs? How does it work? How can I make sure? So there you go, man. So when you're presenting the C's, you're going to present in a matter of how you're going to help them get what it is that they want. If you're presenting to an S, why you do things the way you do them and the outcomes that they get. Okay, do I see that? All right, go back one more. For D's, what are the possibilities? What are my options? What are the results going to be? Okay, what is the outcome? What is the likely outcome if you're a high I? Okay, well, who are you? Tell me a little bit about yourself there, Mr. Agent, Miss Agent. Who else have you done business with? Okay, so this is how you deliver your presentation. So your process doesn't change, but your approach does, using these languages. Okay, so let's move a little forward here into building credibility. Okay, so for high D's, let them know that we value time. Be confident. Demonstrate results. Okay, for high I's, affirm their dreams and goals. Provide plenty of follow-up. Okay, building credibility for the service that we provide. We want to stress why the product or service will help them meet their objectives. Proof of results. I'm going to write that down for D's. And demonstrate value. High I's, testimonials of their neighbors and experts, important people. Appeal to their affinity for the new, the novel, if they're a high I. Okay? Now, when it comes to structuring our presentation, we want to learn and study the goals and objectives of the high D's. And we want to be prepared and well-organized, professional, and business-like. Brief, direct, fast-paced, get to the point quickly. What's the bottom line? Provide options. Well, Mr. Seller, if you go with this price, this is what's likely to happen. And if you go with this price over here, this is what you can expect. Well, if you do business with the average agent, this is what your results are most likely going to be. If you do business with me, this is what your results are most likely to be. Okay, how about high I's? Sell the sizzle as well as the steak. Okay, get them involved in the process. Okay, encourage the decision to do something by offering incentives like this. I'll tell you what, why don't we do this? If we move forward today, we'll go ahead and put a date in there of March 1st instead of February 22nd, okay, as a listing date. And by going ahead and signing off on today, we're going to be able to move you to the front of the line so that when March 1st comes along, everything's already market ready. Okay, did we get that? All right. So now, well, granted, Craig Proctor and myself, Todd Walters here, we have advantages here. Like, we're experts at this DISC personal concept, and we've been involved in thousands and thousands of transactions. So that's why, when we say things, the words might sound a little bit differently. Okay, I get it. Experience is a big deal here. Okay, but that's okay, because now you're in a classroom and now you're learning how you can do the same thing to expedite your success. All right, but remember, this is not about getting a higher percentage of agreements signed, buyers and sellers, okay, as much as it is getting the agreement signed at your fee in one-step appointments, okay, and in less time, okay, with they trust you more. They're going to be more likely to do what you say. That's why you want to be an expert at the DISC personal concept and leveraging it, putting it to work in your business, all right? So let's build credibility for myself. If I'm an S, I'm going to sell myself first. Got to win the S as a friend. Remember, you got to be able to trust me. Got to focus on my reliability, my loyalty. Okay, for C's, look, just demonstrate my expertise, my knowledge of what it is that we do and how we do things in the process, in the industry, like everything, all the details. Follow through and deliver what I promised with those folks. It's very important. Okay. So what about S's if I'm trying to build credibility for my service? I'm going to talk about security and service and safety and dependability and the backups in case something happens to me. Okay. For high C's, I'm going to use data and research and statistics and test results to prove, okay, and deliver all the details, appealing to logic, showing the facts along with the benefits. Okay? All right, now, oops. Structure my presentation to fit this style. Okay? The high S, don't move too fast. They can handle change, but at their own pace. Avoid high-pressure tactics. Give reassurances that the high S is making the right decision and assurances that all promises are going to be kept. Stress reliability, service, safety, assurances. Plenty of proof and statistics, and give them a chance to digest it all. If you're presenting to a C, be logical, factual, and detailed in your presentation. Stress reliability and safety to minimize risk. Okay, so high S is stress reliability, service, and safety. For high C's, stress reliability and safety to minimize risk. Right? See the differences there. Okay, because they're both on that side of the graph, these S's and C's. They're both passive. All right, now let's look at some strategies. You'll like this. Okay, if you're a high D and you're going to sell to a D, all right, just be yourself. Okay, but remember, there can only be one king in the mountain. Your prospect. If you're selling to an I, be a little more friendly than usual. Be willing to digress and chat a bit more than you normally do. If you're a D selling to an S, slow down and back off a bit. The S may be intimidated by your strong personality. Give assurances and present details. Give the S a chance to digest all the facts. Okay, if you're a D presenting to a C, you got to offer plenty of proof and facts. Answer all objectives fully, and don't be pushy or move too fast. All right, what if you're a high I? Yep, those are many of you are, right? And you're selling to a high D. Well, don't make small talk or tell jokes. Be very businesslike. Don't waste time. Stress results. High I selling to an I. At some point during your 3.5-hour listing presentation, you gotta remember to ask for the order. Oh my gosh. I feel bad for you high I's when you go on a listing appointment or a buyer appointment with a high I. You got who knows what you're going to end up doing. You end up watching the game and drinking some beers. You know, you forgot what you were there for, and oh my goodness. All right, if you're a high I selling to an S, Don't forget, or don't get too friendly until you've earned trust. Okay? Provide plenty of facts. If you're a high I selling to a C, don't socialize. Provide plenty of facts, figures, and proof. So a little more detail. Answer questions fully and carefully. Don't waste time. Make sure you've done your homework. Okay? And if you're a high S selling to a D, I, S, or C, check it out. Selling to a D, try to be more assertive and confident in your sales pitch. Don't be intimidated by it. Selling to a high I, you may not like, probably won't like the overly friendly I, especially if they're time wasters. But you get along fairly well. Let the I just talk a little bit, keep control of the meeting's direction, don't forget to close. Same thing when you're talking to an S, just provide assurances. Okay, but don't forget to close. It'd be the same thing. Two S's get together, it could be a 4.5-hour listing presentation. If you're S selling to a C, don't be intimidated by all their challenges and skepticism. It's just who they are. It's okay. People like that make the world a way better place, man. Your style of not moving too quickly will appeal to C's. Okay? And if you're a high C, here's a few of you. Selling to D's, don't overwhelm the D with all the facts and figures. Just hit the high points, concentrated results, and achievements of goals. Okay, if you're selling to an I, resist the urge to lay all those facts on the I. Be willing to chat a little bit, show some enthusiasm. If you're a C selling to a high S, don't talk too fast. Got to have time to digest all them facts. Don't be too businesslike and factual. Let the S talk about the family. Okay, and if you're a high C selling to a C, yeah, you won't have a problem there. You'll kick some butt. Okay, so there you go. There, my friends, is my presentation that I had for you today. And you can see that's quite a bit of pages there in detail. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to make this manual along with this recording available to everyone. We'll get it on the coaching site there. I'll send an email out later on with where you can find it at. And I'm going to recommend you flag this webinar today as training for you and your team on how to do a way better job here of getting buyers and sellers to do business with you in your time frame at your optimal fee. Okay? Building greater levels of trust, lasting relationships with people. Okay? This is a game changer on many levels. Okay, let me talk about that for just a quick second. This will help you in all of your relationships with your family, your spouse, kids, friends. You'll be a little more tolerant of people because you'll be more interested in them and their personal concept. And you'll recognize your temperaments and your personality type. And it'll provide for just better relationships in life. Okay, so I can't stress that enough. This was a big game changer for me, and I'm grateful that I learned the information early on in my real estate career from Craig. And in the early 90s when I first heard about this. So I want to recommend you study it as well. Obviously, just as just a 1-hour webinar, it's impossible for you to grasp everything here, remember everything we talked about. So, yeah, the recording of this webinar and the manual here will be good tools for you. And it's not the last time we're going to do this. I have more detailed information in courses that I will be providing you and your team throughout the year. This is one of the highlights of our Platinum Outside Sales Agent workshops that we put on throughout the year. We've got one coming up next weekend, not this weekend, but the next weekend in Fort Lauderdale. One coming up later in May of this year in Washington, D.C., one coming up in Toronto in the summer, one in San Francisco later in the fall, late winter. So we talk about this. This is part of our ongoing coaching and training to make you way better salespeople, okay, and managers of people, hiring and recruiting the right people, and what to expect from these people, and getting everyone to do things, to take action, to sign on the dotted line, to be able to trust you. You're not trying to steer anybody wrong. Okay? So you could call this sort of like psychic selling. All right? So with that, there's a lot of questions. I'm going to answer all of those as best I can individually, okay, because I've already taken up an hour here of your time today. So look for the answers to your questions in that way, and I believe we'll get them all answered there. But they look a little more specific here than that will be better served one-on-one. So how about we do it that way? And you know what? I want to thank you for jumping on the program today. It was a lot of fun. Great information, huh? Yeah. All right, so I'll get that on the coaching site. We'll get the recording out to you. Make this part of your ongoing coaching and training. And you know what? With that, let's go sell some houses. And we'll talk to you guys soon now. Take care.